Hey, good evening, everyone. Hockey fans of all ages. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Leon Ferris. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us on Kick. My first comment ever from Kick, so I really appreciate you dropping by. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop a line, and I'll be happy to address them. So, welcome to episode of the Scabbard. Or sorry about hitting the mic there. Uh, uh, Episode against the Columbus Blue Jackets. We'll start off by talking about some of the bad stuff from last night. I mean, it was not not a horrible game. The offense is still hot, but the defense and the goaltending really need to straighten it out. We were up 2-0 within the first 3 minutes and 8 seconds of the game. Chase Tristan Jari at 11:33 of the first period, going up 3-1. It was a nice response goal after giving up a goal like 20 seconds earlier. The offense was clicking, and then they brought in Joel Blomqvist and couldn't really solve him for like a period, well, almost 2 full periods, and the Sabres end up giving up the lead. They're down 4-3 in the 3rd period. The Sabres score 2 quick goals in 40 seconds to retake the lead, and you thought, "Man, maybe the Sabres are gonna be able to hold on to this." A really dumb play by Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, uh chasing after a puck behind the net when it canceled out an icing that, the Sabres never recovered from. The puck was kept in the zone, and, Rickard Rakell was able to score the game-tying goal. Lokinen was very leaky yesterday. Despite saving 37 saves, he didn't look really sharp, and tended to overplay the puck a little bit and was out of position, especially on that the second to last goal, the game tying goal, was, leaky, out of position, and Raquel had the ability to um, uh, put the puck in the net and get the game into overtime. Now the Sabres come out with a point. Um, a really horrible call on Tage Thompson that led to the power play that, of course, Sidney Crosby scores on. Both Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin come into the game with chasing milestones, and of course, they both hit them. Um, Sidney Crosby, first goal of the game, gets his 1600th point, and it feels like probably 1,000 of them are against the Sabres. And then, hey, Jonah, I'm not sure what that link is for, but all right. Um, yeah, uh, he comes in, gets the 1600th point, then scores the game-winning goal, which he scored many against the Sabres. And then Evgeny Malkin came in with 499 goals, got his 500th goal in the NHL in the third period, and really great effort goals. It was tough to watch. I'm doing good, brother. How you doing? It was tough to watch. I mean, the Malkin goal was sheer effort, and he didn't give up on the play and was able to score pretty much on his backside. And then Sidney Crosby was just left alone on the post and was able to kind of guide the puck into the net with his body to seal the game for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So another tough loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. At least we got a point out of it. The 2-game point streak, I guess, is the silver linings playbook, and you know, we live to fight another day, and that day comes just a day later as we take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Columbus is 1-2 on the season, so they haven't played a whole lot. The tough offseason, of course, for the Columbus Blue Jackets with the death of their franchise player Johnny Gaudreau. Just a tragic situation. There was like, every time I looked at that story, just it kept getting worse, from finding out they were killed, finding out it was a drunk driver, finding out it was his brother's wedding day or no, his sister's wedding day. Um, you know, the kids left behind. It was just everything about that story was awful. Touching ceremony the other night on Monday, where they raised Johnny Gaudreau's number to the rafters, and the Florida Panthers beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-3. Uh, Yegor Chinnikov, who actually had a really good game, that really just embarrassing game, and I think the game that really solidified the eventual firing of Don Granato, with the 9-2 humiliation that we suffered towards the end of calendar year 2023. Chinnikov played a big part in that. I think he got a hat trick in that game. So he is also their leading scorer this year. So 1 goal, 4 assists for 5 points, and that's in 3 games. So I mean, he's putting up the points. Goaltending is an issue. They just lost Elvis Merzlikins, um, and we'll talk about his injury in a minute. But their goaltending, 3.67 goals against average, it's not going to get it done. But we knew that this was probably going to be a fairly tough season. Leon, I am from the massive city of Falling Waters, West Virginia. So, and you may ask, why is a guy from West Virginia talking about the Buffalo Sabres? I love the Buffalo Sabres, my favorite team. So, all right. So, our 3 keys to the game tonight. We got to tighten up on D. There were too many chances down low, not enough fight in front of the net. Um, and the Pens were able to get some really greasy goals last night. When you score 5 goals, you shouldn't lose the game, and of course we did. The goaltending's gotta be better. Devin Levi's gonna get the start tonight, and we'll talk about the rosters here in a moment. Gotta get the second line going. Like, Dylan Cousins get bad giveaway leads to the game tying goal, and a shorthanded goal, another shorthanded goal against the Sabres. Now, honestly, that was an offsides play. I don't know exactly what the NHL was looking at. The dude's skate was off the line. The puck was not across the line yet. Should have been called offsides. Why do a replay if you're just not going to look at it? Um, or not going to rule as the rule states that the puck must be in the zone before the last part of the body of the player leaves the gets into the zone. It was a tough break, but still, you give up or you score 5 goals, you should not be losing a game. And then don't play down. Last year, the Sabres played down to their competition several times, and we could say that, well, the Sabres are down, but the Sabres have talent, and they're much more talented team than they're playing right now, and they can't play down to a team that they should be beating, and they should be beating the Columbus Blue Jackets. If the Sabres lose to the Blue Jackets tonight, I'm telling you, this is gonna be a very, very long season to watch. And I it's tough. Yes, we're coming off of a back-to-back, travels involved, but again, this team is much better than the, Columbus Blue Jackets and should win the game. So, let's take a look at the, Columbus Blue Jackets starting lineup tonight. This is from NHL.com, so they actually post the lineups. First line that Yegor Chinnikov with Sean Monahan and Kirill Marchenko. The second line, James uh, Van Riemsdyk, Adam Fantilli, young prospect with Kent Johnson, another young prospect. Uh, I don't even know how to pronounce this name. Michael Pedia, I guess maybe. Cole Sillinger and Justin Danforth with Zach Aspen Reese, Sean Corrali, and Matthew Oliver on the fourth line. There is talent in the forward ranks. It's young talent, much like the Sabres were probably a couple seasons ago. But with Adam Fantilli, Kent Johnson, Cole Sillinger, there's some young talent. The Marchenko and Chinnikov. There's some young talent on this team that the Sabres need to take seriously. The defensive pairs, Zach Werenski is healthy this season, which has been a not his strong suit the last couple of seasons. So good to see him on the top pair with Ivan Provorov, Jake Christensen with Damon Severson, and Jordan Harris with Jack Johnson on the third pair. Tonight's goaltenders, Danil Tarasov will be taking the reins tonight. The backup goaltender for the Columbus Blue Jackets is now the starter as Jet Greaves comes up and will back him up with the injury to um, Elvis Merzlikins, who's got an upper body injury. The scratches for tonight, we've got scratched David Juracek, which is an interesting scratch. Would think that he would be in the starting lineup, but David Juracek with Kevin LeBlanc, they're both scratched, and then a whole host of injuries. If the Blue Jackets were healthy, I think they would be a much better team because I mean you got Voronkov, Boone Jenner being out with a shoulder, Gavin Brinkley, or I'm sorry, Brindley, and Eric Goodbranson with injuries, and then of course the starting goaltender Elvis Merzlikins with the upper body injury. Um, yeah, it's a tough situation for the Columbus Blue Jackets, but again, this is another situation much like the Florida game. They came in injured. They've got to be able to take care of the teams that are injured and playing shorthanded. So let's see if the Sabres can take advantage. Sabres forwards, again, per NHL.com. JJ Paterka with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck on the first line. Zach Benson with Dylan Cousins and Jack Quinn. Jason Sucker, Ryan McLeod, and Jordan Greenway on the third line. And honestly, Greenway's been playing fantastic the last couple of games. Let's hope he can keep it going. That third line has really stepped up for the Sabres. McLeod got his first goal yesterday, so good to see. I'm glad to see the third line stepping up because the second line is not. Uh, and then the third line, Beck Mallenstein, which is good because he took a shot off the leg yesterday. Still kept playing, but was worried that maybe he would have a little bit of a ding. But Peyton Krebs and Sam Lafferty, again, I really haven't had much to complain about that fourth line. They provided energy. They provide speed. Um, Tough line to play against. But yeah, the second line is a tremendous concern, and I know that there's been a little bit of flux. You know, you've had Benson in and out, that Kulik playing as well, but Dylan Cousins has not looked really good this season, and neither has Jack Quinn, which is disappointing because we thought Jack Quinn would take that next step last season, but then he got the injury that kept him out most of the two injuries that kept him out most of the season. So we thought that maybe the progression would happen this season, but he's off to a slow start. Defensive pairs, still no change for the Buffalo Sabres. Dahlin, Yoki Haru, Byram and Power, Matthias Samuelson, and Connor Clifton. Although with the defensive struggles, and I know that part of it is that the forwards are not uh, playing tough, but there's been some defensive lapses from the defensive pairs that might warrant a little bit of shifting from Lindy Ruff on the back end. I know he's a guy that kind of gets comfortable with pairs, but I don't know. There's some times that they play a little shaky. Devin Levi gets his start tonight, and this is something we can talk about because Ukko-Pekka has struggled last night mightily. And in the prior seasons, Ukko-Pekka has not reacted well to having tough competition behind him as a backup. And you got to wonder if there's something within his psyche that's not playing well for Ukko-Pekka. Like when they sent Devin Levi down last year, that's when Ukko-Pekka really started playing like gangbusters. And when he's kind of that number one goaltender, and there's not a guy behind him pushing it, he tends to play a lot better. Um, I didn't blame him for any of the 2 losses prior to yesterday's game, but yesterday was a real tough outing for Ukko-Pekka. And if Devin Levi strings together another win tonight, there's a for lack of a better term, there's a goaltending controversy in Buffalo. Does Devin Levi become the number 1? And, I think most people coming into the season would say might be a little early for Devin Levi to take the number 1, but if he's comfortable playing number 1 style with having a guy like Ukko-Pekka behind him, you can't ignore it. And the Sabres can't sit there and waste a bunch of games trying to figure this out. They've gotta get some solid goaltending behind them. So, from the injury front, the scratches, Jacob Bryson, Dennis Gilbert, and Yuri Kulik will be on the scratch side. Injured, Nicholas Obey-Kubel is still injured with that lower body injury he suffered in the first game of the season. Tonight's odds per DraftKings. For the first time this season, the Buffalo Sabres are a goal and a half favorite in this game. So if you're betting Buffalo, you're going to give up a goal and a half. You have to win by more than win by more than 2 goals at this point. The over under is 6.5. So if you bet the over, you hope the teams combine for 7 goals. And last night there was a bet the over last night, you would have won. And then the money line, Buffalo is a minus 142. And I still don't know what the money line means. I know it's basically based on how it pays you out, but yeah, Buffalo minus 142 on the money line. On this date, all we have to go is all the way back to last season. October 17th, 2023, Dylan Cousins scored, and hopefully this is a portent of things to come for Dylan Cousins. Scored a minute and 46 into overtime in the final minute after to erase a final minute Brandon Hagel goal to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning's 3-2. It was Buffalo's first win of the season last year. Um, and yeah, it was happier times for Dylan Cousins, I guess. But Devin Levi got 23 25 shots in the win, and was really left out to dry in that final minute goal. But played stellar, and hopefully he can recreate that tonight. Take a look at the week ahead for the Buffalo Sabres. They have a game Saturday night against the Chicago Blackhawks, and then they are off until Tuesday. I'm just trying to make sure that the schedule is right. I didn't miss a game, but I think I might have missed a game late in the week. Live updates as we do this. Yeah, so Saturday night against the Chicago Blackhawks, Tuesday night versus the Dallas Stars, and then they are off all the way until Saturday against the Detroit Red Wings. So they need to put together uh, 3 solid performances here, because again, you don't want to be too far behind, and having a pretty lengthy. They've had a couple of pretty lengthy layoffs between games, so take this time, recuperate, and lay it all out on the line when you play Columbus, Chicago, and Dallas. Take a few days for yourself, and then play a team that we're going to have to compete for a playoff spot in the Detroit Red Wings. And this will be a measuring stick game for the team to see if they are ready to progress in the Atlantic Division. So, our next episode is, of course, going to be Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. The game is at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. Being in Chicago, it's our first foray into the Central Time Zone, and so yeah, be there for that. And again, if you want to become a co-host, reach out to me on socials, and I'd love to hang out with you, talk with you about hockey and the Buffalo Sabres. Just reach out to me on socials, and I'll be happy to discuss how to do that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the show tonight. Go check out the Sabres pregame show with Marty and Duffer, or on WGR with Paul Hamilton and Brian Koziol. And we will talk to you all on Saturday night.